Hi, welcome to Deep Dive into the Ocean Ecosystem with the Giants, a learning tool about whales, interconnected species and organisms, climate change, and humanity. It's a free online global website for people of all ages from the perspective of a layperson about whales, how they engineer the oceans, help mitigate climate change, assist interrelated species and organisms, and help humanity in the process. The project also includes several modules, including citizen science, pollution, whale anatomy, whale benefits, and why they are struggling for survival in the Anthropocene era. Hi, I'm Maria Lisa Polegatto, and this is my team partner and co-pilot, Tilly. And this is our ocean playground that we go to roughly once a week, at least. I graduated in the past with the paralegal program, and again last year with my 3-year Bachelor of Arts Community Studies degree, and I'm continuing my studies. We hike the oceans doing citizen science for species such as whales, seals, sea turtles. We've done jellyfish counts. We've encountered dolphins, birds, and in the bottom right-hand corner, you'll see a whale tooth that we found at a whale fall just after the whale was buried, which is approximately a little over 4 inches long. So it's always interesting what we see in nature when we get out there, and it's always a changing landscape. First, I'd like to thank my global community partners who, without their expertise and knowledge, I wouldn't have been able to do this project. They've all been very enthusiastic, generous, and encouraging, and I'm very excited to be able to share this project globally. So a huge thank you to the Marine Animal Response Society in the Canadian Maritime Provinces, For Ocean for cleaning up the oceans 1 pound at a time, the Marine Mammal Center with a global stranding network of 75 countries, Ocean Alliance, home of the Snotbot, Earbot, and drones for whale research, the British Divers Marine Life Rescue in the United Kingdom, and World Ocean Observatory for their marine resources. Many things prompted me to do this research, including seeing whales struggling for survival in their own ecosystem. Since a child, I've always been connected to the water and animals, those without voices, that need our help for survival. The project fits into current issues of climate change, the effects of pollution, and trying to increase humanity's role positively to mitigate climate change in the Anthropocene era. Although there's always ethical issues to consider in doing a project, I did not need ethics approval for this project. I found oodles of peer-reviewed research to do this project, and it's about huge amounts of more research required. For whales, I dove into Roman et al. 2014. This is the backbone of my research, and I fell in love with this paper a few years ago doing another whale-related essay for another CBU class. So this research notes that the reduction of whales has a profound effect on the whale's ability to engineer the oceans by being a consumer in eating species to keep the overpopulation of species in control, by being prey themselves to larger whales and sharks, and also distributing nutrients across oceans with their free movements of their large bodies to create higher fish stocks, and releasing their whale pump or fecal plumes to distribute nutrients across organisms, across ecosystems, to feed other organisms, and with their whale falls as they fall to the seafloor when they die, that can feed other species up to 80 years, depending on the size of the whale. For interrelated species and organisms, I dove into Doughty et al. 2016. And this research shows that other organisms and species are not just interconnected with whales in the oceans, but also in the land and air ecosystems. I'm thrilled to see research that shows that large animals such as wild horses, moose, bears, woolly monkeys, and elephants, as well as domestic animals in fenceless pastures, seabirds flying between ecosystems, spawning fish, coral reefs, to tiny microscopic organisms, have a positive impact keeping ecosystems healthy. For pollution, I dove into Van Druen 2000 et al. 2019 for research that suggests 80% of plastic pollution originates from land, that enters waterways reaching the ocean, with the balance being from ships traveling globally. This pollution can appear to be food to marine mammals, and because it barely decomposes, it can cause blockages, alleviate hunger, cause starvation, and eventually death in marine mammals. It can also alter and destroy ocean ecosystems. It contains toxic substances that cause negative effects on organs, leading to infertility and death in marine mammals, but also negative effects on humans, such as cancer, reproductive health, imbalanced child development, dysfunction of the immune system, DNA damage, changes of gene and protein, cell clotting, cell viability loss, bone inflammation, lesions in organs, damage from micro and nanoplastic causing damage to endocrine and human health systems. We need more education on the effect of negativity that plastic pollution creates, not just on our environments, but also to marine mammals and humans' health. For humanity, I dove into the Anthropocene era through Peerreviewed et al. 2016 for research that supports that animals are ambassadors to a freer world, that we as humans have lost connection to, in what we call the nature deficit disorder, with a loss of knowledge of the very species that we not only share the planet with, but that keep our ecosystems alive and healthy. This project got off to a great start, meeting Gary Mansfield of the CBC at a whale stranding near Collindale Beach, Port Hood, Nova Scotia, Canada. We both landed at the site at the same time, and then he did a media piece about the whale and this project and why we need these giants in the oceans. And I've included that media clip in the project. I also reached out to communities related to marine mammals, whales, marine biologists, the indigenous community, governments, ocean stakeholders, pollution, climate change, and humanity sites, drones, interconnected species such as the Nova Scotia Sable Island wild horses, moose, bears, elephants, monkeys, birds, sea turtles, and coral reef sites. And after doing an extensive literature review, I created a website through Adobe Spark and included free photos along with my own photos of findings that I had and our ocean environment. I also did a YouTube video through Adobe Spark to share on YouTube so that the project is searchable online, and created a Facebook page to share ongoing related information. I shared the project by talking to family, friends, and basically anyone who would listen to me whenever the opportunity arose. And I dove very deep into social media to share the project globally through social media such as Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I entered the CBU photo contest. I entered CBU Research Month to share the project poster that's sitting behind me. I shared it on my own website and many, many more social medias, sites, and I even joined TikTok. I also placed photos, posters around town, which is to the far left here, an 11 by 17 photo I created business cards to pass out to anyone that was interested, that I meet on a daily basis, and also at the oceans when we're hiking. And I also created this QR code for the project so that it was easily accessible for people. I also reached out to government officials, politicians, and organizations, including the United Nations, through email, and completed the UN 75 survey, sending in the project link. And while I didn't hear back directly from the UN, I did make valuable global contacts. I'm reporting back to my community partners through email, the project link, and information, and appreciate the enthusiasm related to the global research and conservation efforts. I evaluated the project by viewing the most viewed pages of the project so far, which were first is what are marine mammals, then whale anatomy, what are whales, the benefits of whales, and community partners, all in the top 5 modules most viewed. The least amount viewed were Anthropocene and the Anthropocean modules. And I think that may be because those terms aren't well known. And maybe I should have named those pages something different, like Let's Get Our Acts Together for Survival, and the future, living in the oceans. I'm happy that the bibliography page is receiving notice. And I'm thrilled that my community partners have been viewed in the top 5 out of the 23 modules for the project. To date, the project has a global impact of, through the bit.ly link, 1,385 page counts, while the Adobe Spark had 3.4 thousand page views. And also, we have had a global reach of 75 countries. So that was my goal, 75 countries, because the Marine Mammal Center has 75 countries in their global stranding network. And so I concentrated on that first, and also reached out to many sites on coastal environments here, and different species and organisms to get the project out there. So I've learned many interesting facts about whales. One of the more recent, Nicholin 2019, notes that each whale, and let me repeat this, each whale is worth $2 million of carbon sequestering ability, and globally whales are worth $1 trillion to help mitigate climate change. So we really need more of these ocean engineers in our oceans. I dove into the classifications of what species constitute marine mammals, keeping in mind humans are mammals. We're not marine mammals, but we're mammals. So polar bears to me always look like the species that don't belong with the others for marine mammals. However, it's a reminder that marine mammals interconnect with the land and air ecosystems, and also marine mammals haul out on land and ice in order to rest. And while we think about whales as tails and flukes, there's actually over 80 species, closer to 90 species of whales, 14 of which are baleen whales. Whale anatomy proved to be very interesting, with lots of incredible information about whales, including facts such as their ears are in their throats and they shut down their systems to dive deep. There's many interesting facts about whales on that module, including whale blubber, their nostrils, which whales have 2 nostrils and which have 1, and the baleen, which is a photo of the baleen of the whale find at Collindale Beach near Port Hood, Nova Scotia. And the bottom right-hand side is a picture of research I found on a whale tooth that's cut in half that looks like the interior of a tree trunk. So you can see how the whale is grown, and the centum actually grows around that like a tree trunk. So I dove deeper into the ocean to discover the differences between toothed whales and baleen whales. And while I didn't go into every species for detail and geography, I did learn about the surprising number of reasons they're under threats in the ocean. The history of whales has taught me that humanity has obliterated whale populations for goods humans used daily, such as some of the items that you see here. The lights were from whale oil. Baleen was used for women's corsets and fishing rods, and also whales were used to make lipstick, perfume, candles. However, the previous history of whale populations may be quite higher than previously thought through genetic evidence suggesting that whale populations might have actually been 1.5 million before the commercial whaling era instead of hundreds of thousands. To my dismay, I found from Goodman et al. 2019 that fishermen are unable to collect lost, abandoned, and discarded gear in the oceans without permits, which are hard to obtain, and they can't go out after season to collect this gear. And while we have laws to protect whales, we're still capturing whales for captivity, for entertainment purposes. We have whale tours that are sometimes getting too close to the whales, disturbing them in their ocean ecosystem, and a repeat in their ocean ecosystem. We also note that whales are hard to spot from ships, let alone in foggy conditions. Ships are speeding, causing whale strikes. So speed plays an important factor in keeping whales safe. And while both whales and ships have limited maneuverability, after seeing this live data from the AIS marine traffic system, I was shocked at the number of ships that are in our oceans at any given moment. While we first think of fishermen, we may not realize that ships travel globally, and they include a variety of ships that cut through the oceans to destinations without stopping to save whales and turtles and wildlife like fishermen do in their local waters that are more aware of their surroundings. I am happy that I've seen global partners come together more recently related to fishing gear solutions to clean up the oceans. And while we do have existing technology to help humans survive and strive to coexist with whales and monitor whales due to their slow reaction times, we need more technology. Currently, we note that aerial surveillance is the best way to see whales from overhead in their ocean environment. There's lots of systems that provide warnings to ships for whale populations currently in areas. There's a new on-call buoy that will be used to lower traps to the seafloor without the ropes hanging down, which can interfere with whales swimming through the oceans. And you'll see the SnotBot here uses a drone to fly through whale blow to collect a sample and to be able to monitor whales and their health. And the bottom picture, you can see while there is technology for ships traveling through fog, it's also difficult to monitor whales through a ship traveling on the oceans with the whales' non-ability to move fast. So for climate change, it suggested that Inuit knowledge and communities can monitor changes in the marine ecosystem in the Antarctic. And a monitoring of krill species will be required as ocean temperatures continue to warm, because this movement to new feeding grounds for whales creates a negative impact on whale production. With pollution alarming at increasing rates, our oceans are becoming unlivable for animals, let alone humans, who could one day have to live on, in, or under the oceans, as Jacques Cousteau researched back in the 1960s. And you'll see here his 3 continental shelf stations, and more recently in 2018, research for a biolume reef habitat to do just that, to live on, in, or under the oceans more sustainably. And while humans may consider themselves above animals in the circle of life, humans are actually a part of the circle of life, the same as animals. After researching, I've discovered that we have a very long way to go for both the oceans, for whales and humanity. Humans have many things in common with whales, such as we both eat salmon. We both eat a variety of pollutions that have been consumed by marine life, and then we're eating that. We both sing, we both whisper to our young, and we both comfort our young. And humans have, I believe it's 2 more chromosomes than whales. And you'll see on the far left, humans have been drawing on cave walls for many centuries, and many of those drawings have been of wildlife. Further research is necessary for humans to understand whales and how we can mitigate climate change with their free and kind assistance. The future of humanity is in our own hands. And while whales are out of sight, we need to realize that we can all make a difference, each one of us. We need to get back to nature, leave no pollution, and give back to nature what we took from it, and grow in the process so giants can thrive and help restore our ecologies. What we do know is that whales are best seen through the aerial surveillance, and we need more technology to avoid whale strikes, entanglements, and starvation through pollution. What didn't work well for the project was Facebook, which kept my sharing to a minimum. So I had to get around that by collecting emails from Facebook pages. And that's probably why the bit.ly links were lower, much lower than the Adobe page shares. But I am very happy that all feedback for the project was very positive. This is a sample of the bibliography that I've mentioned throughout the project here. However, there's a much longer list of the bibliography on a module in the actual project itself. So in future, I would like to encourage positive education about this information by continuing to share the project globally. Humanity has much to lose without these ocean engineers. A reflection of next steps is diving further into research and going forward with many aspects such as whale singing, whale species, and conservation issues. I would also like to research more about how we can live more sustainably and assist species instead of obliterating them. We need to not only encourage the survival of giants, but also protect them, and in doing so, help avoid the Earth's 6th mass extinction. I will continue to share the project and update as technology advances. My hope is to help humanity view the changing world in a new way. It's my hope that humanity can go forward having constructive conversations that lead to positive outcomes. Thank you for diving deep into the oceans with me and the giants.